All right, I'm going to make a short video to kind of take you through what we talked about in class and give you something to try the homework with. So the first example that we did together in class was this one, 0.55 meters is equal to how many millimeters? So the first thing I want to do is come up with a conversion factor. The conversion factor is using the chart on the top of your paper to come up with this. So I start with 1 meter, and I'm going to set this equal to how many millimeters. So if I look at my chart, because I'm starting with the base unit, I'm using that bottom row of numbers that we came up with, and underneath milli, it says 1,000. So I'm going to put a 1,000 on the millimeter line. Once I have a conversion factor, now I'm going to come up with my plan. So I start by drawing my line. The first unit I'm going to put in is my given unit, meters. Whatever I put in that box, the exact same thing goes diagonal. So I have meters in the diagonal. Above it, I put either what I'm trying to get to or what I have a conversion factor for. Well, in this case, it's the same. I'm trying to get to millimeters and I have a conversion factor for millimeters. So I'm going to put millimeters on top. Now I'm going to cross them off, see if I'm left with what I want. I'm left with millimeters, which is what I want to get to. And now I'm going to start to fill in my numbers. I first put in what I'm given, which is that 0.55 meters. Then I fill in the conversion factor that I came up with. So next to millimeters, I'm going to put 1,000. Next to meters, I'm going to put 1. Finally, I'm ready to multiply and then divide. I multiply the top, divide by the bottom. I get 550 over 1. So my answer is 550 millimeters. All right, let's take a look at the second problem. For the second problem, we're starting in a similar fashion. I have 8,875.3 grams, and I'm going to try and see how many kilograms that is equal to. So I start with my conversion factor. I have 1 gram is equal to how many kilograms? I'm going to use my chart. Again, I'm given the base unit, so I'm using my bottom row of numbers. For kilo, it says 0.001 or 1,000th. I set up my chart. I start with grams, because that's my given unit. Same thing goes diagonal. What I'm trying to get to, or what I have a conversion factor for, goes above. Cross them off, make sure I'm left with what I want. Now I fill in my numbers. 8,875.3 grams is my given unit from above. Now I fill in my conversion factor that I came up with. Next to kilogram, there's 0.001, so that's what I put in. Next to gram, there's a 1. Now I'm going to multiply the top, multiply the bottom, and then divide the top by the bottom. I'm left with my answer of 8.8753 kilograms. All right, the next two are slightly different because this time you're going to need 2 conversion factors. So for this one, I'm going from decaliters to deciliters. So my 2 conversion factors are going to be deciliter to liter and deciliter to liter. This time, because the prefix comes first, I'm using that second row of numbers, or excuse me, the middle row of numbers, the one that says meaning next to it. So in 1 deciliter, there are 10 liters, and in 1 deciliter, there is 0.1 of a liter. Now I'm going to set up my chart. I start with deciliter, same thing goes diagonal. Because I don't have a conversion factor for deciliter to deciliter, I'm going to go to liter first. Same thing goes diagonal, finally trying to get to deciliter. Cross off the ones that line up. Looks like I'm ready to start and fill in my numbers. That top box is what you're given. It's the 8 from above. Then I'm going to fill in those conversion factors that I came up with. The first conversion factor compares deciliters to liters. So I'm going to put in a 10 for the liter, because that's what I see up here. And I'm going to put in a 1 for my deciliter, because that's what I see up here. Deciliter, excuse me. Then I'm going to put in a 0.1 for my liter and a 1 for my deciliter over here, because that's what I see in this spot right here. This time I'm going to multiply the top and multiply the bottom. And now I'm going to divide, and I get an answer of 800. The last example we had time to do in class today was this one. 1.8 milliliters is how many centiliters? So I start with my, again, 2 conversion factors. Because neither of these are the base, I need 2 different conversion factors. So I'm going to have 1 milliliter is how many liters, and 1 centiliter is how many liters. Because both of these have prefixes in them, we are going to start with the bottom row to get our numbers. Or excuse me, the middle row to get our numbers. So For milli, the number that we see is 0.001 because there is a thousandth of a liter in 1 milliliter. And then for centiliter, we're going to have 0.01 because there is a hundredth of a liter in a centiliter. Now we set up our plan. Given is milliliter. We have to go to the base first, and then we can go to centiliter. Cross off the ones that are the same. Make sure we got what we want. Now we plug in our numbers. Given always goes in that top left box. Our conversion factors go in the other boxes. Multiply the tops. Multiply the bottom. Divide the top by the bottom. And you have your answer of 18 hundredths or 0.18. The last two we didn't get to in class, but I'd like to just briefly go through them. These are a little different because you're not using the metric system. We're actually converting between metric and customary or common English language. So the conversion factors here were actually given on the paper. So we know 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. That's the factor I'm going to need to use. And I figured that out by looking at what I was trying to compare. I'm comparing inches to centimeters, so that's what I need to find. I'm going to set up my chart just like I did before. Inches is what I'm giving. Centimeters is what I'm trying to get to. Plug in your given from above in that first box. Your conversion factor, just like before, goes in the middle. Multiply the top. Divide by the bottom. We get an answer of 184.15 centimeters. Last one is comparing the distance from Cleveland to Columbus in kilometers. We start with our given conversion factor from above. That 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometers. We're then going to put in our units, miles and kilometers. Make sure we have what we want. Plug in your given unit from above. Then you're going to plug in your conversion factor, multiply the top, divide the bottom, and we have our answer. So hopefully this helps you in trying to get the rest of this done. Watch the video again and stop it if you need some help. Your job is to try questions 1 through 13 on the back of your paper. You're obviously going to need some room to do this on a separate sheet of paper. Just try your best. Bring it in on Tuesday and we'll go over it some more then.